speech. That will take us to the presentation by Mr. Emeka, Eboagwu, and then we'll have a recap, and then down to question and answers, and then presentation of plaques. I think we're doing something different today. We're making plaque presentations to both the presenter and the chairperson, the chairman. And then we have announcements, group photographs, and vote of thanks.
Okay,
Next
so
slide,
the secretary, just the presentation is supposed to take like 30 minutes, then 15 minutes for like 10-15 minutes for like question. So altogether it's supposed to be 45 minutes.
Yes.
It's okay.
So for the safety moment, during this meeting, we're going to be sitting down for a long time. So I would enjoin everyone. There's something I learned of recent. It's called the soulless push-ups, where if you're sitting down for a long time, it's advised that you practice it. You raise your heel, the tip of your toe up and down. You do it for some during the period where we are holding this meeting. If you don't want to stand, that it can help to improve your muscle coordination because of you're constantly sitting down, and it's also good for your blood sugar. Anyways, aside from that, we're enjoying everyone to listen attentively. We're enjoying you to jot down your questions. If there's any questions you have during the presentation stage, during the question and answer session, it will be entertained. It will be taken into consideration. I think that's all from me in terms of safety moments. So I'll move the presentation quickly to my chapter coordinator to take the opening remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Secretary. Thank you. I welcome everybody to this Warri February technical meeting. I appreciate everyone for finding time to join. I know some people are still joining, and more will join us even as we continue. I appreciate the president. I don't know if he has joined us. I think it's a transit, so I don't know whether you're able to join, but if you join us, fine. I appreciate the VP for finding time to join us. I appreciate the PE for finding time to join us. I appreciate Emeka, the speaker, for doing this for Warri chapter and for NAPE as a whole. I appreciate the chairperson, the chairman, Oga Shegu. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. At the same time too, the entire audience will say thank you for finding time to join. And also, this is the first event for 2025 for Warri chapter. I will say that be looking out for our emails that will be coming in. We have a series of events planned for 2025. So please don't miss any one of them. Each month is loaded with one activity or the other. So look out for Warri chapter emails, as the bulk emails and SMS and all that, and the social media too is being sent out. Don't miss out on the social media too. The NAPE national handle and Warri chapter handle for all our activities. We appreciate you. So we invite, I don't know if the president is on the call or the VP. Okay, so if it's not around, we'll call on the VP. Mr. Ehibazwe.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for organizing this important technical meeting. It's a very interesting beyond compliance.
We can barely hear you. Or is it from my end? Secretary, can you hear him?
So his network. Breaking. His network from his side.
Breaking from his end. So maybe it's... VP, are you there?
He's left the meeting.
Okay, so his network must be bad.
Let's just hold on some few minutes.
The network. He has left the meeting.
I'm sure he will log in, so let's just hold on briefly for him.
He's joined back.
Okay, so VP, you are back.
Sorry, apologies. I think network.
Okay, no problem. It's okay. You can go ahead.
Okay, so I said that's an interesting topic beyond compliance, enhancing social sustainability in the oil and gas industry, and of course, Emeka we know is somebody who is well-rounded and is able to address this topic. So we look forward to this, and this is the first technical meeting from the Warri chapter, And we know with your antecedents, we're going to see more quality technical sessions coming from Warri this year. So thank you. And we want to encourage everybody to stay tuned to the end and just note your questions and listen attentively. So once again, thank you.
Thank you, VP. So over to you, Secretary.
Okay. So before introduce our chairman for the day, I'd like to read out just a bit of what he's about. His name is Mr. Olusegun Obilaja. He's the head specialist, geoscientist, and exploration discipline lead, stroke technical advisor for Shell Nigeria. He's gathered a lot of experience when it comes to exploration, hydrocarbon finder, and he's recorded successes in the Niger Delta region when it comes to onshore, shallow water, and deep water, and also the South Oman Salt Basin. His exploration career started in expedition in Warri in 1966, where he's worked till date in various capacities. Allow me the pleasure to introduce our chairman of the day, Mr. Olusegun Obilaja. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So just a short remark. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, chapter chairman. Thank you, the secretary, vice president, sitting for Uche, our president. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in today, for logging on to this special occasion. It's like a homecoming for me. As you could see, I started my career in Warri, so it's good to be with the Warri troop again. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I won't waste too much time because I know that our speaker today has quite a lot of experience, and I'm sure he will want to share his experience with us. This is particularly a very interesting topic for us when it comes to sustainability, social sustainability. So I'm actually looking forward to hear from him and see what we can learn because, as I said, beyond compliance. And so that means we are looking for something bigger than just keeping to compliance. How do we enhance social sustainability in the oil and gas industry? So without much ado, I think we will. Do I need to? Do I have to? I can read through the
Yes.
profile. Oh, good,
Yes.
because I look forward to. So our speaker today is Emeka Eboagwu, is the visionary founder of this and CEO of Pentland Group, a rapidly expanding conglomerate with a diversified interest in real estate development, energy, and agricultural development. Has over 18 years of experience in both corporate and entrepreneurial spheres. His career has spanned multiple industries: IT, business consultancy, banking, and oil and gas. So you then see why we are really looking forward to hear from him today. Notably, he managed a whopping $1 billion yearly spend for Transocean Offshore Drilling Incorporated, African operations, as a contract management and sourcing manager. He's a staunch advocate for innovation and creativity. He is not constrained by limitations, which is quite impressive. His impressive educational background includes a doctoral researcher with the School of Management, Cranfield University, which is ongoing. He's a graduate of the School of Business, Stanford University in the US. He has a master's degree in energy studies with a specialization in energy economics from the University of Dundee, Center of Energy, Petroleum, Mineral Laws, and Policy. Yeah, as a starter, he started as a geologist with us, bachelor's degree in geology from the Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka. He also holds various professional certifications in business management, contract, and cost management, leadership, supply chain management, and is also an international member of prestigious organizations like the CIPS in UK, International Association of Contract and Commercial Management, APG, and our dear NAPI. He's married and he enjoys playing lawn tennis and Scrabble in his free time. Please help me to welcome our dear Emeka Eboagwu. Welcome, Mr. Emeka.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon, everybody in Nigeria. Good afternoon. Can you allow me to share my screen?
Okay, let me stop sharing. You can share now.
Okay.
I'm not yet seeing his screen. It's still showing prof screen.
Emeka, are you sharing now?
I'm about to
Not
share,
yet.
but you're not allowing me.
Okay, now
Oh,
we see your screen. Yes.
okay. I'm yet to even see it from my end.
Okay, not yet also. I think it was just picking up the
I'm not,
voice.
I've not yet seen it too.
Okay, today, just check whether there's any restriction on the permission. Just check.
No, there's no restriction. Emeka should just
Okay.
try again. I'm sure he will be able to do that. He has done it before.
Well, maybe you should go out and come back.
No, we can see him clearly and we can hear him clearly. So I'm sure it's just a button he needs to click to take over the screen.
Let me just try again and try and see if we can go out
Yeah,
and come because it's not
because we
showing.
see you very, very clearly, very sharp, and we can hear you loud and clear.
Can you see the screen now?
Nope.
Not yet.
Nope.
It
Okay.
is coming up. It's coming up now.
Now,
No, but this is not the right screen.
okay.
This is not the
Now
right
we
presentation.
see.
Can you see the screen?
Yes. Beautiful.
I'll show this.
Excellent.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay.
But
You can see the flag.
Can you see it now?
I can
yes,
see
we can
it.
see it.
Fantastic.
We can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Good afternoon once again. So today, I'd like to thank everybody for the privilege to be here this afternoon. And I'd like to thank NAPE for giving me this opportunity. This year marks 25 years of joining NAPE, and it's really nice to see me coming back as a student, now talking to the industry today. So it's a privilege for me, and I sincerely appreciate the executives of Warri chapter and the executive of NAPE as a whole. So today I'm going to be sharing a part of one of my research as a doctoral researcher with the prestigious School of Management, Cranfield University, and looking at the landscape of social sustainability within the Nigerian oil and gas industry. And my background has been shared. There are 4 elements to this conversation today. I'm going to be discussing the general concept of sustainability and the foundation for social sustainability, and how do we identify these social issues within our operations, and possibly the myth of the matter today is to discuss the current landscape of the social issues within our industry, and lastly, propose solution to address the key issues that has been identified. Now, to set the tone, I would like to show 2 videos that speaks to the issue, and I would like you to just please be open-minded. It's going to speak to your mind, but be open-minded in receiving some of the content of this video.
We are currently at Cotton Channel Flow Station 1, where a massive fire explosion was recorded some 5 days ago. gone around this environment, and we could see oil floating on the water. We spoke to some community leaders earlier, and they complained that the oil have been flowing to their fishing settlement and that they are now devastated. The cause of the fire is yet unknown, as there has been no investigation made public concerning it. Over there are the vessels. This entire facility is the Cotton Channel 1, which is the biggest field in the oil mill 18 in Nigeria, right here on Bonny Island.
So here is a local. Did you guys watch the video? If you can hear the video, please say hello.
Yes, I heard it.
Good stuff. So here is a local presentation of one key issue that we have within the industry. The next video that I'm going to play speaks to an international documentary as to what's going on within the Nigerian oil and gas space.
Niger Delta has some of the biggest oil fields in the world. It's a dangerous place of guns and poverty, where people need development, and the environment is heavily polluted from 50 years of living with the oil industry. In June 2013, in the dead of night, a massive explosion occurred on a major Shell pipeline near the village of Bodo, spilling thousands of barrels of oil into the swamps. It was the 25th attack on that pipeline in the last 2 years, but the size of the Bodo explosion and its proximity to the very people who were supposed to have been guarding it made it remarkable, exposing the depths of corruption at the heart of the Nigerian oil industry. We went to the swamps in Bodo to see where the accident took place. But there is the Joint Task Force. That's the military's station. It's impossible to know exactly what was going on, but the likelihood is that oil was being stolen in a very, very large way, right under the noses of the authorities, and perhaps with the collusion of the authorities. In the days following the explosion, a team was assembled to investigate what happened. Catholic priest Father Obi was invited to join this official investigation.
From the very moment I got to the area, I was suspicious, because I wondered why a site that should have been well protected, the JTF were probably 70 meters from the scene, because I could see their houseboat from the scene of the car.
Military,
yes,
70 meters.
They were at most maybe 100 meters, but I don't think it was up to 100 meters. They knew exactly what was going on there. And then also, later on in the investigation, it was clear to me that Shell was aware that this was probably one of the most bunkered points on the.
When you say bunkered, that means that is where the oil was being tapped off?
Was being tapped off because there is always oil there. And from the investigation, it was clear to us that Shell knew this.
What you're saying is that the company knew?
Yes.
The contractors knew?
They knew quite
the military knew?
Yeah.
Everybody knew
and
that this oil was being taken out.
And for me, there was clear complicity from everybody around.
But everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing 80,000 barrels of oil a day to theft, has stated that oil was being stolen in Bodo, but they told us emphatically that their own contractors were not involved. Nigeria says it's losing 400,000 barrels of oil a day to sabotage, theft, and lost production. That's nearly 20% of everything that's produced in the Delta, and it's costing the government and oil companies $20 billion a year. No other country in the world is losing anything like this much.
For 20 minutes now, we've been flying over a devastated landscape with dozens of illegal refineries, some small scale, some quite large scale, which have been tapping oil off the big pipelines, putting the oil into barges and exporting it who knows where. the landscape has been destroyed. It's a very tragic situation.
If you want to understand the problems of the people in the Delta, then comes Eboagwu. There are no wells there, but still the community is plagued by oil. In 2008, faults in the Shell pipeline spilled tens of thousands of barrels of crude into the mangrove swamps, causing total devastation. 5 years later, and people here are still awaiting compensation and cleanup. They've lost their fishing grounds and much of their farmland. Oil has been nothing short of a disaster for these people. Is the Trans-Niger pipeline, the great 24-inch artery of oil which leads from the oil fields here out to the terminal in Bonny down the road. It's not protected. You can see, look, it's right under my feet. I jumped hard enough on it, I'd probably break it myself. This pipeline provides nothing for these communities. They get nothing. They get none of the oil from it. They get none of the money from it. Shell runs this pipeline. Shell is now saying that it needs to make a new pipeline. It's going to spend £1,500 million on a new pipeline to avoid communities like this and sabotage. If it spent a tenth of that money on the communities, you could argue you wouldn't have these problems in the first place. Oil and...
Okay, so I'm going to stop this video. It's a long video, but I just wanted to start the tone of this presentation with these two videos. The Cotton Channel fire happened just 7 days ago within the Nigerian oil and gas industry. And I'm sure very few of us are aware of what happened. There's a community beside the area where the fire happened, close to Degema local government in Rivers State. And as of today, as we speak, that community still holds lots of crude coming out of the fire from that fire. This happened 7 days ago. Last year in July, we also had a fire on the AJ field that killed 4 people for a company in the oil and gas industry. So we continue to see some of these issues spiraling within the Nigerian oil and gas industry. And sincerely, to look at it, when we think of the sustainability of the industry, what comes to mind? I'm going to refer to the work of John Elkington, 1997, in defining the concept of sustainability. He says that it refers to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own. An approach that typically speaks to focusing on balancing social equity, which is the people, environmental responsibility, which is the planet, and the viability of economics, which is the profit over a long-term period. That is the conceptual definition of sustainability, either both in academia or in practice. As a academic, I will look at it from both the practitioner side and from the academic side. Why is sustainability now important within our industry? First of all organizations, international organizations, are now being held responsible for their activities, whether be it where they are as a host country or where they have their activity in branch countries. So for example, a Chevron or a multinational based out of Netherlands or out of Portugal is responsible for its actions or activity anywhere in the world. So they are now responsible, they are now being forced to report both financial and non-financial impact of their operations all over the world. Last year, the EU, as a government, as a governing body, brought out a law that talks about the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive that says that every organization in Europe that has a branch all over the world will be responsible on a yearly basis to report human rights, environmental issues, and all issues that pertains to their impact to the people and society on a yearly basis. As we speak, this has caused a lot of issues even in Europe and here in the UK. companies are now creating policies that speaks to mandatory issues around human rights, modern slavery, and the environmental impacts for the environment. 2 weeks ago, some Nigerians came to England and came to a court to challenge some of Shell's action in Nigeria. So sustainability issue has gone beyond just a local conversation. It is now an international conversation. Anybody can take anybody to any court anywhere in the world. So you as an individual or a host community can take up any company, be it multinational from Nigeria, and you can report them in their respective countries. And the new law offers great fines for companies who do not comply with some of these laws. Come to think of it, when we talk about social responsibility in the oil and gas industry, what really comes to our mind? What words come to our mind? We look at issues around philanthropy, CSR, corporate social responsibility, ESG, environmental, social, and governance mechanism, and our social license to operate, SLO. The question is social responsibility the same as social sustainability? When you talk about some of this issue, what you will hear from companies is social responsibility. But I can tell you that this narrative has gone beyond just responsibility. It has now become social sustainability. How do we define these two constructs? Number one, the SR, which is social responsibility, refers to an immediate action of companies towards their obligation to their operations, either through community or people, mostly be complying with laws, regulatory laws of the government or of the industry. However, when we speak to sustainability as a social concept, because what we normally hear when it comes to sustainability is environment, climate change, net zero, but the S part of sustainability hardly is being talked about. So we are now moving from a concept of being responsible socially to now being sustainably a social industry or a social organization. And it addresses the organizational capacity and capability to address social issues in the long term, not just a one-time effect or an activity that speaks to correction of what has happened. This is proactive effect that speaks to the overall societal well-being. So what governments are concerned about is every industry should now have what I call social conscience. What does impact do we have with our operations, especially here in the oil and gas industry? So we impact our workers, we impact the community, we also impact consumers, and generally we impact society. And this is coming from a recent work from Pagel and Willen. So you would have noticed that I'm using references because as an academia too, I'm also going to allow myself to use people's work and not just coming from a practitioner view only. There are 4 elements to social sustainability within any industry. First of all is the human rights. The next level is labor rights. The human rights affect both society and the people working for us. And the next part has to do with what we do in our supply chains. And finally, how we engage the various stakeholders within the industry. Stakeholders meaning community, regulators, investors, and different elements of stakeholder engagement within the industry. So for human rights, and I really want to everybody to look at this conversation, because this is the core of the conversation. What constitutes human rights within the oil and gas industry? Collective bargaining agreements and freedom of association, ability to allow people within the industry to go into union and unionize. That is human rights. It's a fundamental right of everyone working in the industry. It's a fundamental right of the community to be able to associate and engage operators. There's also the employee slavery and servitude, forced labor. Do we have forced labor in the oil and gas industry? Are there opportunities for a national and a foreigner working to be given the same equal opportunity? And are there child labor for human rights? Then we come to the labor rights issues that pertains to social issues within the industry. What kind of contracts do we have in the industry? The employment contract terms and conditions. And I'm going to ask everyone here today, when was the last time you checked your contract, your offer letter from your companies, and be sure that the terms of the agreements that you have still aligns with what you are being paid or you are being treated with today? What sort of welfare and policies do your companies have? What kind of engagements do you have with your organization as an individual? Or what kind of engagements do communities have with the industry? How are people being developed? Do we have any form of social human capacity development for the industry? Do we see any of these elements coming in the industry? How diverse and how inclusive is this industry? And are we being paid well in the industry? Then coming to organizational business practices, do we have corruption issues? Do we have antitrust issues? Are there issues within our supply chain, within our contract management with our suppliers? Do we ethically source some of the things we use in the industry? These are some of the social things that is coming out both from literature and from practice. The biggest portion of the conversation is our stakeholder engagement. The consumer part is how do we ensure that there's sustainable consumption, that the industry itself is responsible for sustainable consumption. Coming to the community, what access do communities have to essential services? So if you are a player in the industry, or if you work for a company that have a host community, does your community have electricity? Do they have water? Do they have housing? If they are and these are called philanthropy, so it's not your responsibility as a company because these are supposed to be government-backed services. But as a government, as an industry, do we necessarily see philanthropy as a means to providing access to essential services? What sort of management do we do when we take people away from where they are because we want to drill oil? What is the access to education? What kind of social investments do we have with this community? And how are we creating wealth for where we are working, and how we are emboldening and empowering people to have wealth in these communities? Then for government, how do we live with our government? And how do we have information symmetry? What sort of alignment in terms of information is between governments and industry players? These are some of the social issues, indicators that will make us as an industry be sustainable for now and for the future. Once again, we carried out a research on these 4 dimensions of sustainability that pertains to social issues within the Nigerian oil and gas landscape. And this research started in 2022, and we interviewed various people from the international oil and gas companies to the local players and their suppliers. We also interviewed some bankers in terms of their view of the industry, and we interviewed some regulators to speak to us as to what is going on with these 4 elements in the social cycle of our industry. And they are quite interesting findings. So when we speak to these 4 elements, we know that a lot is going on. I can tell you a whole lot is going on in the first phase of our conversation. First, the human rights. Second, the labor rights. Third, the stakeholder engagement. And fourth, the people that we speak to, which is our operations. What are the findings? We carried out, I'll maybe just show you snapshots of the interviews that we had. We had interview with over 70 people within the industry, and we had a focus group engagement with over 150 people that are suppliers within the industry. And here are some of the snapshots. Let's go back to these 4 elements. I'm not going to put them in writing. I just want you guys to hear some of the conversation, because we are going to publish some of those findings very soon, and you can then see, sorry, in detail what these issues are. On human rights, there is a silence, or there's a quietness around unionism. We see that most international oil and gas companies do allow their personnel at certain level to join the union, and that has strengthened their ability to bargain effectively. But what we see and what we hear is that most service contractors, not all, do not have any form of union conversation within their companies. What we also found out is that the local indigenous oil and gas operators do not see a reason why their staff should create a union or start a union within their organization. It may look very simple, but this goes against a fundamental human rights principle of freedom of association. There was an instance, and because of the anonymity, where within an indigenous oil and gas operator, the staff have been clamoring to start union for the past 3 to 4 years. But every time they go back to management, it's a no and no from the management side. What this tells you is, well, the management will have their own thought process around union. However, they are going against the fundamental principle of freedom of association, which is very key when you want to enhance or harness social issues within the industry. On forced labor, it will interest you that some people are being forced to work on platforms and on drilling rigs beyond their scheduled time of working on those rigs. They might be motivated by money, but the point is, as an industry, we have time frame for people to be able to be sane enough to work on rigs and platform. Some do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Some do 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off. But we've seen in our analysis that sometimes people are spending more than the required time on board their rigs, not because they choose to stay, but because companies are saying, stay there, we'll pay you more money as an incentive to keep them to work. This is in between the lines of incentive and being forced to work, and ultimately disalign with social sustainability of the industry. On our supply chain operations, we see a situation where indigenous contractors are more concerned about the money that they make rather than the elements of the contracts that they sign. You give a contractor a document to sign, he doesn't look at any of those contract terms. All he wants to sign is, there is money, we are making money, and we sign. By so doing, because they really don't understand the total cost of ownership of their contracts, they fail to pay their employees on time. There is an element where people are owed in this industry 2 months, 3 months, not working. I will share a typical example. So one of the suppliers did tell us that An employee on board a platform called them and said, "We've not been paid for the past 2 months, and I need to leave this place. I've been working here for 60 days now because I need to go take care of my wife who is pregnant. Could you please speak to the contractor as to why we've not been paid for the past 60 days, for 2 months, and why I'm still here 60 days working without payment?" And guess what happened? The supplier called the contractor, so the company called the supplier, and the supplier said that they have delayed, the company has delayed paying them, and so definitely because they delayed paying them, they are unable to pay the workers working for them on the platform. Now, see the twist. What the contractor did not know was that there's a 45-day payment term from the start of the month when the invoice has been paid. So because he's unable to understand the dynamism of the payment term in the contract, they now assume that the other company, whose contract term says that it's 45 days after the month you submit your invoice, and they assume that it's the company's fault for not paying them early, and so they are unable to pay the workers working for them. Now, what's the spiral effect of this whole chain? You have a disgruntled guy working offshore whose mental health is at stake and can create a safety issue that can cause fire, create safety issues that can cause fatality on board the platform or on board the rig. These are the issues we see, and these are some of the issues that needs to be addressed going forward. One very key issue that came out of the labor rights is the fact that we also see within the multinational companies where full staff are being paid really, really good, and so you now see tiers of contracting: the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for the same job, where someone is earning, let's example, ₦1 million as a full-time staff, and a tier 3 supplier within that same job frame earns less than 120,000 naira. This is just what we see, 120,000 naira for the same role within that same company. So we see a form of diversity or some of issues that relate to fair wage remuneration. Some people are disgruntled, while some people are really, really, really paid in the industry. Within the same industry, some contractors are well paid, some individual contractors are just meeting ends meet. Stakeholder engagement. So we ask companies, what are the issues with communities? This is one place that we see some level of development in Nigeria, where companies are now engaging communities in terms of GMOUs and MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding between community and companies. But what we see is that most companies do agree that we need to do more because of historical issues. The past 50 years hasn't been too nice, hasn't been too good to host community. This country still bears the mark of the Ogoni 9. It's a big issue that needs to be addressed. Today, there's still issues around the Ogoni cleanup that has not been done. People are suffering in communities where people are drilling. There's no access to water, no access to electricity, and their schools are not well furnished. The truth is, some companies are doing really, really well in this regard, but the industry as a whole has an improvement opportunity to address some of these elements. Finally, to address the issues, we see in our findings 3 things come out. Some issues are very important to the industry, which is salient. Some issues are there and never to be spoken about, which is silent. And some issues are there and nobody seems to want to talk about it because they are time bombs waiting to explode. In terms of compliance, what are the current landscape that we have within Nigeria for complying with some of these human rights, labor rights, stakeholder issues, and contracting and supply chain issues? There is an advisory on NUPLC for laying off staff. I'm sure a lot of people do not know about this, but in our research, we found out that there's an advisory for all companies within the industry as to what to do when you want to lay off your staff. What we find out that in this particular conversation is that even though it's there, a lot of people do not know that there are mechanisms for staff layoff within the industry. That is why the issue of unionism or unionization is good, because the union is able to engage companies as to when they want to lay off staff. There's the issue of the Host Community Trust Fund, which is from the PIA, that addresses how the industry going forward wants to engage the host community. 3% of our operational costs will be used to manage as a trust to develop the community. The truth is this enough to be able to address 60 years or 60 years of not being treated well as a community? So for example, if you are dealing with a community and give them 3% of maybe $10 million, that's $300,000. How much can $300,000 do to provide the succor that communities really, really want? Is this really a fair amount to be able to address community issues within the oil and gas industry? These are the questions we need to ask. And there are issues on human rights that we have, our laws on human rights. For everyone to be able to have freedom of association, and this industry is stifling people to form a union, then there is an issue that is a time bomb, and one day it will blow in our eyes. This is just a comment that I know that some of this, our respondents from the research did tell us. And there's NECA, where government is engaging companies on how to deal with their employees. And there's National Human Rights Commission, where you can go if you feel that your rights are not being dealt with. So what are the triggers? So there are 6 elements that we think that are triggering some of these issues within the industry. Like I said before, the Ogoni 9 issue is still very, very fresh in some people's hearts. And that's the kind of reaction you get from the communities as to, if we have been dealt like this before, how will this new guy come in to deal with us? So there is an historical agitation from communities, and it will take a long time to build trust between the industry players or the new industry players and communities. There's an aging infrastructure. So we had a drilling rig capsized last year. We've had fires from Endeavor rig in 2010 to the Ajapa field, to different kind of the Seawolf rig that's the Orishemein, whose leg was broken. We've had several issues spiraling because of aging infrastructure and our inability to either renew them or revive them or manage them effectively. So you see a case where an infrastructure has been there for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's no adequate maintenance plan on those assets. If there's an issue on a valve that's supposed to shut down something, and because it has not been maintained, we have such issues triggering fire, triggering pressure that can affect lives of people within the industry. We also see a capacity development issue. There's a serious aging gap between what is happening now. For example, when was the last time you saw a graduate development program in the industry? SITP was there, but it's no longer there. I know a company is doing something around that area now, but we see a massive gap between those who know the industry very well and those who are coming into the industry without those elements being passed on to them as being trained. We have a big gap in that area. If there's a workforce gap, then how sustainable is the industry? Who are the 20s? Who are the 22-year-old, 24-year-old trainees? How many of them do we have in this industry? Who is training them? What kind of training matrix do we have to be able to train these people to match up with the requirements of the industry for the future? How do we balance local content and cost escalation? Yes, we need local content, but how do we ensure that there's still ongoing knowledge transfer between the industry that are fully matured, the UK, Norway, the US, have done this for a long time with technology. How do we match that as a trigger for social issues within industry? I'll talk about this last one, regulators and regulations capture. From what we see, and from the analysis, we see that some companies feel that they are too big for regulators. So they will think that is a regulation capture. How do regulators deal with this issue? I'll give you an example. People died last year. What sort of feedback has the regulator given the industry as to people that died last year? If you can check online. If you go to the UK oil and gas website, it will tell you how they find likes of BP, likes of petrol in terms of fatality that happened 14 years ago. Today, we don't have such data, and we don't see the regulator muscle power to tell the industry, this is where we want to go, and this is how we want to go about it. So we feel that there's a regulation capture by some players within the industry. Moving forward together, just the last part of my conversation. The ultimate goal of this industry to be able to go beyond compliance is to be able to have what I call a social license to operate, which says that the entire society accepts the oil and gas industry in terms of social development. Today, as a country, looking at the works of Butterley and Thompson, we are just being tolerated. And because we're just being tolerated, there's still lingering issues and threats coming out of the community, coming out of even unions, and we need to be watchful in monitoring some of these issues. Where we want to go to is to see companies and contractors as good neighbor, approve, and even you as an employee of those companies as saying that, yes, my company is a good company and we can see them doing well for the society. The ultimate goal of any socially sustainable industry is to where people, companies, society co-own the industry, where we see governments taking ownership of some of this issue, where we see a united front against critics, and where we see people advocating, like I'm doing now, for implementing good social practice within the industry. And lastly, what do we do beyond compliance? I think we need to go back to a drawing table and consult wide. And I think we need to create some form of actions, what I call considerations, to deal with some of these elements that I've talked about and effectively communicate them to the industry. Because you can have 1 million ideas as to creating sustainability in the industry. How do you communicate that to the industry? And lastly, because compliance is key, we must continue to enforce compliance. We must continue to find companies that are found wanting in getting to align with some of this issue that we've spoken about and that needs to be addressed. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'm free to answer them. And I once again appreciate Nape for giving me the opportunity to talk. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you so much. Over to you, Chairman. Oga Segun. Chairman, are you there?
Hello.
Hello,
Oh,
over to you for a recap. And we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Mr. Chairman, sir, can you hear me? Okay, Emeka, can you hear me?
I can hear you, madam, loud and clear.
Okay, so I was thinking no one is hearing me. So it's like Mr. Chairman cannot hear or network
okay.
is.
Can you hear
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I hear you now.
me now?
We can hear you now. You can go ahead, sir, with the recap. Then we'll moderate the questions. You can go ahead, sir.
Oh,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Beautiful. Apologies, Emeka. I dropped out briefly, but you were already on the last slide when I dropped out. So I heard the presentation very, very, very clearly. I must say thank you for such a very, very detailed, very, very detailed analysis that you've done. I'll be very fast so that I can give room for people to really ask questions. And I really appreciate the energy and the thought you put into this, because it's obvious that you've gone through the whole thought process of what is sustainability, different from responsibility. I think that's one thing you've really brought very clearly to all of us. And how can the people in the oil and gas industry really get themselves involved in that social sustainability? I think that's a very clear message you've brought on board, and I really appreciate that detail that you brought. And I hope people can ask enough questions and even follow-on questions with you after today to get more insight into the kind of things you have brought to the table that can help the oil industry grow. Because without sustainability, we really cannot grow. But first, let me open it up for questions, please, so that we can give room to people to ask questions. Who is helping us with the coordination of the questions, please? Because I can't see the way people are raising hands or asking questions from here.
Okay, I don't think anybody has raised hand. Only I think Mr. Francis said he has a question.
Okay.
Mr. Francis. So the is for the panelists. Okay, somebody raised his hand. Let me check. Mr. Francis, go ahead with your question. Okay. SLS. Excellence, you can mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
go
we
ahead.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you, our presenter today for such an excellent topic. I'm sure some of us didn't know earlier about this social sustainability. Thank you very much for the insight. Now, my concern is towards our emerging local companies, the indigenous space that we have found ourselves. You see that over the years, the IOCs that were operating within our system, I won't give them an excellent remark, but to some extent, they prioritized on certain social responsibilities that were key to our everyday life. And then we have our indigenous companies coming in now. For me, I think they should even have a better platform to operate. And then they are now truncating all the system. You see where the gas turbine that were generating powers before they came in, they stopped them from giving host communities light. A lot of them, I wouldn't want to mention companies, but let me keep it to that. How do we address these indigenous companies so that they don't fall astray, they don't go away from the right practice, what is expected from this industry? Thank you very much.
Emeka, over to you.
Okay, so that's why I think this particular conversation is very important to talk about now. That's where the issue of advocacy comes in. The truth is, for indigenous players, and I can tell you from research, there's a big learning and improvement opportunity for them to be able to go, to be able to even become socially responsible, then move to sustainability.
Yeah, exactly.
This kind of conversation needs to be ongoing, whether be it NAPE, be it with the regulator, or even at a broader conversation nationally, where we speak to indigenous operators to start harnessing their social consciousness of being responsible for their stakeholders, for their people first, who they work for, who work with them, not just community. You are talking about community now, but there are big issues between people working for indigenous players first, and then move it to the community. So there's an important opportunity that we see. And thank you to Professor Juliet and our team for bringing this kind of conversation to the front burner. And I think NAPE should take it to the front burner, where we tell people to become more socially responsible to their people who they work for, and finally to the community where they work. So it's a long process, but we can always get there. Advocacy is the answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that answer. I was actually watching out for when you are going to point to how companies need to move from responsibility, sustainability. That journey is important. And our indigenous companies also start and quickly, very quickly go to that sustainability that you are really hammering on. Thanks. Thank you very much for that coincidence answer. Any other hands up?
We have Isong, Christopher Isong.
Okay. You have the floor.
Christopher Isong. You can mute. Christopher Isong.
Okay. We can't hear you very well.
Your background is noisy.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, while he's trying to sort that out, Francis Ikwegu, we can go ahead.
Okay, Francis, you have the floor. Francis, you are okay. Good, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Presenter. This your presentation actually blew my mind. It's like you are just playing my career in the oil and gas industry. And coincidentally, we joined NAPE almost at the same time with over 25 years experience in the industry. I started as a quality control seismologist with then CMPC. We acquired the first 4D seismic in Nigeria. And from the look of things, mostly on the area of sustainability you're talking about regarding payment. In those days when we were young, we could see that our uncles who work in the oil and gas industry, they earn their money on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis. So coming to the Western world, I still see that people still earn money. Every Friday is a payday. Every Friday is a payday. People, oh, I'm waiting for paycheck, waiting on paycheck before they can buy this. So who gave our people that a salary has to be paid on a monthly basis? And that is why this take-home pay can't take them home. Because if it is paid as at when due, and again, why to owe somebody who has worked for 1 month, you now owe the person for 2 months, it's a criminal offense. Here in the Western world, you don't owe somebody salary. In fact, I had a case of 2 Nigerians who reported a Nigerian that is employed, that employed him. He called the police and they picked them up just because he owed him salary for just 1 week. At the end of the day, the guy was supposed to pay, like, let's say he was owing him like $1,200 or so. The people he was mandated to pay this man $2,000, and the guy was begging, please let me pay 1/8. You understand? This is how it works in the Western world, and it pains me that how do we revert this anomaly that is embedded in our system, where we owe people salary, and some contractors, they could be the highest donor in the church. They are celebrated in the church as the highest donor, but back there in their employees, they are owing their employees 3 months salary, they've not paid them. So we can go on and on and on. Again, why are you calling the church? No, well, they are involved. They are involved in the process. So now you're talking about the unionism. I was also a unionist, and it was not there by my own volition, because people see that I am productive, or I am a key asset in terms of production, and that's how we were wooed into unionism, and it worked. So after some time, when our clients noticed that, when our employer noticed that we have succeeded in bringing in unionism, they use the apparatus of the government to make sure everything was upturned. And to the witness of the what's it called? To the witness of the client. I don't want to mention their name. As we speak, then Emeka was the Honorable Minister of Labor. Our case was tabled over to him. You know what? When you go on time off, you don't come back again. Disengagement. You will be told that we sign contract annually. Every year we sign contract. And we change the status quo. Before, when you come, they will say, shine here, shine here. These people that cannot speak English, shine here, shine here. They will just open the back page of the contract. You will sign. You don't know what you are signing. But we call them to order. We begin to read what we sign. We take the contract paper home. You have time to read it. And after reading it, you come back. It's a ceremony. We sit down with the HR manager in the conference room. We'll be signing page by page of every document. And that is why what we brought to the table as a success, it becomes ceremonial.
Thank you.
Yeah, you understand? So upon these people, they don't really care about the workers. They don't care, because if they do, they will not be conniving with them to be exploiting the workforce.
Thank you, Mr. Francis.
It's a whole lot of shit.
Yeah,
And I'm very happy
let me quickly
with this
address
topic.
two
I never
things
knew that this. Go ahead, sir.
Let me quickly address two things you've said, and I think it also aligns with the outcome of the research. There's a silence as to what is happening with unionism, because most people know that when you have a proper structured union, you are able to clamor for some of the things that you have in your contract. That's why I said the trigger for it is regulatory capture. Some people feel that they can control regulators. Some companies feel that they can tell the regulator what to do, which is also ought to be the other way. So we see a mechanism where the regulators are already being captured, whether bids from the labor side or bids from the upstream regulator. There's a form of regulatory capture, and someone needs to speak to that, and the regulators need to sit down and do what they need to do to address some of this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We could take this. Is there any one type thing that we could count as the last one, because we're actually at 1:15 now? Maybe we should take one or two more questions and we can wrap it up, Chairman.
Okay, Isong has typed a question. He was raising up his hand the other time and his background was noisy. He said, what is the optimal timing for oil and gas companies to start implementing social sustainability initiatives during the construction phase of their projects in order to maximize positive impacts on local communities and minimize negative consequences? From Isong Christopher. Emeka,
Okay,
did you get that?
Yes, I do get it. So for companies that want to implement any form of social responsibility, it starts with what I call an SIA, a social impact assessment. Even before you go to construction points, who will be impacted by our operations? The people. That's why I put this slide together. There's a slide I talked about the hold on, can I? Okay, it's off. There's a slide I said who is impacted for our operations: the society, the community, the people we work for, and our consumer. If you do a proper stakeholder mapping of who your operations will impact, it will now help you to understand how to address them. For communities, you need to now ask, what do they really need? What does this community need? Is there something that we are going to do that would alleviate poverty, that will help them get better? Or what infrastructure is already in place? For example, somebody talked about a gas turbine, and now that gas turbine is being turned off and power is not given to that community. Are we going to turn it up or turn it down? What sort of mechanism are we going to do to engage this community for them to allow us to work effectively? Is it an MOU? Is it a GMOU? Is it the HCT, the Host Community Trust Development Fund, HCTDF? These are some of the things you need to consider even before you start any operations on your assets. So for the indigenous developers, they need to look at it clearly. What kind of plan do we have for the community, for the people that work for us, and for the society at large? Thank you.
Okay, one more question, Chairman, please. Chairman,
okay,
one more
so
question.
that's the last one. Yes.
If I'm anonymous from the attendee, my question is: which department in a company is responsible for social responsibility? Does it fall under the sustainability department, or is it the responsibility of individual employees? What happens if there is no sustainability department? What is the best approach in such a case?
Let me put it this way. There's what they call the industry culture and organizational culture. So the industry culture today is that we are still at the point of social responsibility. We have not moved it into social sustainability. That's where we are at the moment. Now, to now come to organizational culture, who drives the organizational culture? It's the owners of the business and the management, the leadership of the business. Now, how they want to drive it depends on their culture. Would they want to create a department for driving sustainability or driving social sustainability, or do they want to make it as a vision, like something that is ingrained in the system, whatever we do as a company, we take care of our people and take care of our community. So some companies don't even have social sustainability or sustainability departments, because ingrained in that organization is the vision of treating people well and treating the community very well. So they might not even need to talk about it. So any small thing they are doing, maybe they want to do something, they're asking themselves, what impact do we have for the community? What impact does this have to the people? So it's all about culture and not just about having a department. Everything here that we talk about today is driven by both industry culture and organizational culture. I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Time pressure. I think we will have to really appeal to our people because, Emeka, your topic is quite interesting. So I'm not surprised that we have a lot of pressure. But again, we have time pressure as well. If you flash the agenda again, please, Secretary, you will realize that we have really overshot our time in years. So let me just apologize to the people who are still. You can please type in your question. We'll forward them to Emeka, quite all right. And then we see how well you can address them to the population. But I want us to quickly do the other part of the agenda so that we do not forget those ones. Please, if you let us see the agenda again.
Okay, this is where we are.
Okay. So in the recap, and yeah.
The recap, I think we have done the recap and the question and answers.
Yes, we have, which is good. And this is about how many minutes do you have for the whole program before? 60 minutes?
And so we're almost done. In another 10, 12 minutes, we'll be done. So just give your final recap. Just give your final recap then.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone for coming. And Emeka, again, I must say thank you, because the reason why this is so good is it's a real refresher. It's a different way of looking at things, a different way of actually approaching a problem. We all have heard of social responsibility, but now we are talking of sustainability, and you've been able to clearly demonstrate the difference between the two. And not that they're actually different, it's just that it's a continuous journey. You are somewhere and you want to go to a better place. So that's where you look at it. It's a spectrum of activity that every company in this oil and gas industry need to enter and start with, from social responsibility into sustainability, if there is going to be a sustainable growth of our business. So I must say thank you, Emeka, for really sharing this knowledge with us. Thank you for giving us the time. And to all our members who are here, all the co-panel members, thank you all for the time. I looked at the number of people the numbers have been growing since nobody has actually dropped out. For the co-panelists, I say thank you all for really standing to support and to help Emeka deliver such a brilliant session today. So back to the chairman of the chapter. I say thank you for hosting us.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We appreciate, sir. Thank you. So we welcome President-elect, Mrs. Olajumeka Ajayi, to appreciate our speaker and our chairman for the day, and present a virtual plaque to them. The physical plaque will come to you whenever we meet, maybe at NAPE or at any of the events.
Oh, thank apologies. You. I didn't know the President-elect is in the house.
Yes,
and you did not mention that. So
I did that. I welcome her at the beginning. I welcome her at the beginning.
Happy, please. Sorry, I did not hear that. Welcome and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my chairman. Thank you very much. You did excellently well, and thank you for giving us your time. And my great presenter, Emeka, you did excellently well. I had to abandon everything I'm doing here and just got glued to my system to listen to you. I believe that a presentation like this should not be limited to a chapter level alone. We have to take it, further for others to hear. Unfortunately, our theme for this year has in it sustainability. And I know my management session coordination coordinator for that's the subcommittee coordinator is on this call. So we'll look at what I believe that you make yourself available, anytime we call on you to also do justice to this topic once again. So on behalf of NAPE executives and NAPE members generally, I want to say thank you, and we are presenting the virtual plaque to you. Is it on the screen?
Yes, it's on the screen.
I can't see it.
Oh,
so I present
it's from
it
my
to
end.
you. Okay. I'm not seeing
can
it.
see it now.
Okay, I'm not seeing only Q&A.
Oh, that means it's network hanging it.
Okay,
Okay,
that was
just
why
a minute.
I was using that
a
time
minute.
to talk.
Okay, so it's already. Just give me a minute, please. Give me a few seconds. Let me just drop it on your WhatsApp. Why is it not commenting? Have you seen it?
I'm still trying to. It's not there yet.
No, it's not.
But
Madam, can you stop sharing and reshare? That's what will happen.
Okay. Let me do that. Okay. So can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes. So okay, the first one on the screen.
Let me go. It's not showing. It's showing the second one.
Okay.
Yes. Show me give me that of the presenter.
Just a minute.
There was a statement you made that I had to note down here. If there is a workforce gap, how sustainable is the energy industry? There's a lot to discuss. This is a topical issue. It won't just stay with Warri chapter alone. We'll take it further.
Can you see my screen now?
I've not seen it. I've not seen your screen.
Let me help you out.
I've not seen your screen. All right.
Okay, now it's showing.
Okay.
It's showing now. So on behalf of NAPE executives and all NAPE members, I present this plaque to you for the presentation you made to us today and giving us your time and being the speaker at our technical and business meeting of February 2025, which was put together by our Warri chapter. Thank you very much for creating time to share your knowledge with us and to present an insightful, make an insightful presentation. We really appreciate, and like I said earlier on, I'm sure your door is open. Whenever we knock on the door, you will respond and give us your time once again. Be rest assured that we'll definitely call on you before the end of the year to make this presentation to the larger house. Thank you very much.
Okay. The next slide.
Thank you, Emeka.
The next slide.
And to our able chairman, thank you for creating time out of your busy schedule to sit here with us today to share this technical session. Thank you very much. And I really love the way you did the recap. A presentation of about 40, 45 minutes, you summarized into like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and everything was well captured. Thank you very much. And I believe that you will continue to give your NAPE to our great association, NAPE, anytime we call upon you. So please have this virtual plaque as just to show you that we appreciate what you've done. I believe the physical one will come later. Thank you very much, sir.
Exactly.
For your time.
Thank you. Thank you, P.
All right.
Thank you, Emeka.
Thank you.
Thank you, P. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. God bless. You are really doing well. Warri chapter, eh?
Thank you, ma.
I really
Thank
love
you,
the
ma.
topic. Thank you.
Okay, so let's quickly go. Please, we'll have a group photograph. But let's just take the announcement quickly within. Lucky, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, my chapter coordinator, my PE, the speaker and chairman of the event, and fellow panelists. Good afternoon. Announcements, please. The slides.
It's on. Can you see it? Lucky, are you there? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, clearly. I can hear
Yes,
you.
I can hear you. I'm
Can hear
sharing.
you.
Lucky,
Okay.
you can proceed.
Or maybe it's having network issue. Our conference, in NAPE annual conference, will be coming up
Okay, are
within
you
9th to 13th November.
Next slide.
Oh, yeah. We didn't hear you at all, Lucky.
Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. This
Hello.
the flyer for our upcoming conference, national conference, and the theme is revitalizing the Nigeria petroleum exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development. The details are there. The early bird registration is also there. So we enjoin all NAPE members, corporate bodies to register before the date. You can see the details for the registration from active members, non-members, and students and lecturers. Next slide. And the date is 9th to 13th November. Monthly technical meeting and sponsorship opportunity. 2025 technical and business monthly meeting sponsorship opportunity now exists. Partner with NAPE to host a technical/business meeting in one of the monthly technical meetings of 2025 and showcase your company technical strength and prowess. Leverage on the NAPE platform to reach our diverse membership. This you can get to our president-elect. Her details is there, or through the NAPE secretariat. Mr. Lawrence Osago. Next slide. Membership dues. Student members is still 2,000. Active member is 12,000 naira, and associate member is 12,000. Corporate membership is 50,000 naira. We enjoin those that have not paid to do well and pay their dues, and those that have not registered to register. NAPE, you can find NAPE on social media, both on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, which is X, and so we enjoy you to follow us on all our social media handles. Next slide. Okay, these are the NAPE Warri chapter executives. Yeah, the immediate left is Professor Juliet, who is our coordinator, and all the members of our executive council. Next slide. Group photograph.
So Tunde just take this. Can we just on our videos? So Tunde just capture the meeting so it can help us during our reports. Tunde, are you there? Hello, Tunde, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, so just let me stop sharing. Okay, so just can we just on our videos, please, so they can capture a good photograph for us. Tunde, are
How
you ready?
do I on my video now? Yeah.
Okay. It's enabled already. Is that Francis speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you seeing
just
me?
on your video. We can't
Okay,
see you
yeah.
yet.
I don't know how to on this.
Dr. Wilson, let's see your face. F Nappy. Dr. Wilson, are you there? Okay, so your name will be captured, no problem. So today you can go ahead, so we don't take much time because people need to go back to their decks. Today, when you don't let me know.
Okay, it's done.
Okay, that is fine. Okay, so thank you so much. Deputy Coordinator, are you there? That is not said. Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson.
I saw him not quite long.
Yeah,
I'm here.
too. Okay, just have us do vote of thanks, please.
Okay. Well, on behalf of the NAPI Warri chapter, I sincerely want to appreciate all who have made that time to be a part of this particular technical meeting. In fact, I've been on transit. I had to park along the road to actually take action. So the president, Mr. John Bosco Uche F. Napi, ably represented by the Vice President, Mr. Eyibazwai F. Napi. We are so grateful. Our President-elect, Madam P, we are very, very grateful, F. Napi. Our Speaker, Emeka, we are grateful. We have honored our attention to be part of this meeting. Our able chairperson of the session, we are very grateful to be a part of this particular event. All those that logged on into this meeting, we are most grateful to be a part of it. All other ESCO members that were on this call, and all fellows of NAPI that were on this call, we are very grateful to you. You have made our time. Warri is always a trailblazer when it comes to NAPI activities, and we always set the ball rolling to ensure that we sustain such a fantastic presentation. Please don't fail us when we call upon you again to be a part of such a learning session so that we can improve on our own understanding of the oil and gas business and activities. Thank you very much for your attention, and I pray that God will be with us all as we move into the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Have
much,
a very
Dr.
nice
Wilson.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Professor Eniola, I saw you. Thank you so much. Mrs. Tuboso, I think I saw her too. Thank you. Fumi Oji, thank you so much. Fejiro, how are you? Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you once more, the presenter, Dr. Emeka, and the team.
KK Kano, thank you so much.